Hey there, beautiful music teacher friends. We're here for another edition of the Savvy Music Studio broadcast, and today we are going to be talking about how perception can have a direct impact on the revenue that you make in your business. So let me frame this just for a hot second. Why are we talking about this? Well, when it comes to marketing our studios, a lot of what is out there in terms of the client's perception feels like it's out of our control. What do people think of your studio when they come across your socials? What do they think about it when somebody recommends your studio? What do they think about it when they do a Google search and they might come across you? There are many things that we can control in this circumstance and many things that we cannot. And so what we're going to be unpacking today is how client perception, like different ways that client perception can have a direct impact on your revenue. And we're going to discuss ways that we can develop strategies to create positive perception. So I hope that you're excited for this because we've got a lot of actionable steps that you can take in order to take control of your marketing and your branding today. But before we get too far into this, we are going to play a little intro music and make sure that we are going live in all the places and spaces. So while I do that, please be sure to say hello down below, whether you're live or on the replay, and let us know where you're tuning in from. We will be right back. Welcome. I'm so excited to be here to talk about revenue and how perception can have a direct impact on it. Those of you who were here last week for our big masterclass on how to attract ideal clients, we did get into this topic just a little bit, but now we're going to expand it today. So we have lots of interesting things to cover. Let's double check. We are live on the Instagrams. We're live on YouTube. Okay, great. We're live in all the areas. Hopefully this week we won't have the craziness that happened last week when the broadcast dropped 10 minutes in. So please keep your fingers crossed. I see Laura is tuning in. Hello, Laura. Nice to see you. If you are watching with us, whether live or on the replay, let us know where you're tuning in from. It's always really fun to get to know the teachers who show up every week. Even if you're just coming in on the replays, we love our replay viewers too. Elizabeth's watching on YouTube from Central New York. Nice to see you, friend. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so let's get into this today. I am going to be covering 5 ways that client perception has a direct impact, either positive or negative, on your studio's revenue. And we're going to discuss specific ways that we can influence positive client perception. But before we get to that, just as quick housekeeping, we love to learn out loud here. So if you hear something that's valuable, give us a hashtag takeaway and we will bring that up on the screen. If you're live, we love to see what is valuable to other teachers. It's also really useful for those who are watching later on so they can get some quick snippets of what was valuable in today's broadcast. Speaking of takeaways, we are going to be announcing our giveaway winner from last week. So hold on to your hats for that. We're going to be announcing that later this afternoon. I'm very excited because it's going to be cool. All right. If you are watching on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can get notifications for the new video content that comes out there. We are going to be having a new type of video content on our YouTube channel shortly. They're called YouTube Shorts. So it's going to be pretty cool. All right. We do have the Savvy Sara bot set up for you to deliver the show notes from today. So if you are on Instagram or if you are on Facebook, you can drop the word perception down below and you can get, that is not the right thing. Did I click on the wrong thing? Oh, it's hidden. There you go. Drop the word perception down below and you'll be able to get a hold of those show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, look in the description below this video and you'll be able to click on a link where you can get all of the good stuff. By the way, if you didn't know this already, when you do interact with the Savvy Sara bot, she gives you other opportunities to sign up for our email newsletter that goes out every Monday, and also to get text reminders when we do our special broadcasts. So get a hold of that from her. All right, so let's unpack the issue today. Why are we talking about this? Lots of things to say. So, it can feel difficult to make your studio stand out when there are so many options that pop up on things like Google search, in social news feeds, and when other studios are being recommended by word of mouth, and differentiating your services in a competitive market, that can feel hard. So because of that challenge, I wanted to unpack this part of the issue. This really frames why we're talking about today. Because of that challenge, many teachers feel pressured in order to make the sale. And one of the results of that pressure is that we may feel like we need to price ourselves competitively in order to make that sale. Now, can competitive pricing work? Yes, it can work pretty well in businesses that are product-based. Not all product-based businesses do competitive pricing, but many do. But when it comes to service-based businesses, which is what we are, competitive pricing can come at a great cost to the business. So while low or competitive prices can result in more inquiries and maybe more sales, it can also result in attracting the wrong kind of people to your studio. And this can result in high turnover rates. And that might be fine if you are what you might call like a big box music studio that has a lot of staff and has a pretty sizable marketing budget. But for most of us sole prop and boutique style studios, competitive pricing is not a long-term strategy that will work. And let's be honest, because, I love to get on my soapbox. It's also not healthy for the industry as a whole. And I know that you already know that because you're a savvy listener, and that's why you're here. So the question is, how can we differentiate our services without using this idea of competitive pricing? Well, it all has to do with client perception. And that's what we're going to unpack. So we're going to examine how client perception has a direct impact on your revenue, and then we're going to discuss specific types of strategies that you can use to create those positive perceptions. All right, so if that has resonated with you, let me know down below. I'd love to know your thoughts on this idea of competitive pricing strategies in our industry. It's something that we've been talking about a little bit on the socials, and we've had some really interesting discussions about it. All right, so let's get to the 5 areas where it has a direct impact on revenue. Okay, first. Oh, I thought I fixed all these guys. Maybe not. Let's fix that. Okay, so when it comes to client perception, having a positive perception can really highly influence word of mouth referrals. Because why? When somebody is happy in your studio, right, and they have a positive perception of what you're providing, then they are more likely to give recommendations, right? They're going to recommend your business to others, leading to more organic growth and increased revenue. And, when it comes to client perception, oftentimes we think about like client perception being something that is only for new clients, but perception, right? This all has to do with branding, y'all. Perception also has to do with the current clients that you have in your studio. And that's why it's really important to focus on customer satisfaction, not in a way that's going to put you into a position where you're working bad hours, etc., like that. So, boundaries are important. But when it comes to influencing that perception, there are many small things that we can do that we think of sometimes, but then we forget at other times. Let's give a small example. So thinking of what are some ways that we can demonstrate to our parents of young students that things are going well. When something happens in a lesson and it's one of those little aha moments for one of your piano students, voice students, ukulele students, take a little moment to outline that aha moment to the parent. And that can be as simple as speaking to them in person when they come to pick up their child, or sending a very quick text at the end of a lesson. It doesn't have to take a huge amount of energy to connect with that parent client and to demonstrate that, hey, things are going really well and here's what's happening. So that's just one small way that we can influence word of mouth marketing. There are also other, more strategically involved ways that we can have referral programs, etc., like that. And we've talked about that in other broadcasts, so we're not going to go over that today. So that's item number 1. I'd love to know from those who are watching, if you get quite a bit of word of mouth referrals, let us know down below and let us know what are some of the things that you do in order to influence that. Oh, hey there. Noteworthy Music Studio is tuning in on Instagram, and she says, yes, glasses. Thank you. These are my favorite. And that this resonates. Thanks. I'm so glad to hear that. All right. So that's our first area. Our second area, before we get to that, I feel like I missed something in my outline here. No. Oh, yes, actually, I did. This is an important part. We talked at the top of this, we talked about how some people will use competitive pricing to differentiate their studio and to attract people. And we talked about how that's really not a sustainable practice for people who are sole props and also boutique studios, right? So boutique studios being like multi-teacher studios or single studios that offer like a really nice experience, right? You're going above and beyond. This is not like a churn and burn, like cookie cutter kind of lesson. If you're that kind of a person, you're probably in the wrong place. Sorry. The most effective and sustainable types of marketing strategies focus on creating and fostering positive perceptions and client experiences. It's not about price. It's about experience. Because why would an ideal prospective choose to reach out to a studio? Here are a few reasons, right? They have a favorable view of that studio and what that studio provides. They trust the quality of the services. They believe in the value that they're going to receive. There are so many other things. It could be that the personality of the teacher really resonates with them. Why do they hold those beliefs? Because their experience has been positive before they've even walked through the door of your studio. And that's why it's important to be aware of what are you doing inside of your studio to create and foster that positive perception. All right, so let's take a look. We've got some great comments here on Facebook. Karen says, I love word of mouth marketing. I always put those prospects high on my wait list. Love it. Alexis says, and Alexis is part of a multi-teacher studio. She says, we check in with students after the first month and then after their 6th month to see how they're enjoying lessons and if they would like to leave a positive review for us. Brilliant. I love it. Laura says that word of mouth is helping to increase my daytime lessons with homeschool families. Brilliant. And I tell you what, Laura, like that's pretty major, because I know that sometimes getting into that like sphere of homeschool can be really tricky depending on where you live. Okay, let's keep moving and grooving. Let's move on to our second point. So we've gone through the fact that a positive client perception is going to lead to more word of mouth referrals. It's also going to lead to an increase in sales conversion. So when we're talking sales conversion, we're talking about the conversion rate of the number of people that inquire with you and the number of people that actually choose to work with you. Now, there are so many things that will contribute to that conversion rate, and I don't want to get into all of those today, but here's the thing about positive perception, right? If you've really branded yourself clearly and you're marketing clearly, then that person who inquires with you, if they've seen that stuff, they're going to have a really strong and positive brand perception of your studio. And that makes them more likely to make a purchase, because two things. They trust your brand and they had confidence in the services and value that you're going to provide, but also because if you've really worked at crafting that perception inside of your marketing, you are doing two things. You are attracting the clients you want to work with, and this is going to sound a little funky, but you are repelling the clients that you don't want to work with. And this is where branding becomes really important, right? And this is also where it becomes a little scary when you're working through your branding, because you realize you are literally saying no to some people. And that's okay, right? You don't want to work with anybody that just walks through your door, right? It's not a numbers game, it's a quality game. You want to work with the people that will be long-term students. You want to work with clients who have respect for your studio and who jive with the way that you teach. And this is where that positive perception comes into play. Okay, so let's keep moving and grooving. We got some more points to cover today. Oh, but before we do, because I don't think he was here last week. Everybody say hello. We'll zoom in. That's really scary. Everybody say hello to Bjorn. Bjorn is our official mascot here at Savvy Music Studio, and there we go. He's going to give you all a little stretch. He often comes to the Wednesday broadcasts, and he is my official office mate. He comes here most mornings, where he promptly goes to sleep. Oh, and if you get the newsletter, I'd love to know. Did you see our new and improved newsletter format? Now includes more cats. Good stuff. All right, moving on. Item number 3. So, having a positive perception will also lead to, and we just touched on this a second ago, customer loyalty and customer retention. Now, those are two different things, but I kind of smushed them in one point together today because I wanted to be succinct. When your current clients have a positive perception of your business and they're having a good experience, they are more likely to remain loyal, which again circles back to item number 1. Loyal clients are going to refer more people to you. It also can result in repeat business, and this reduces the cost of acquiring new clients. So that customer loyalty and retention, right? That is a huge thing. And it's one of the things that, when I'm working with one-on-one clients, that's one of the things that we examine is if there are issues with client retention, then it can be a clear sign that branding's not on point, and that the inquiry process is kind of missing some steps to weed out the people that may not be a good fit. And, that's where we really need to spend time in order to kind of fix that issue. So customer loyalty and retention, if we can't, how do we do this? Circles back to item number 1. Again, leaning into customer service. One of the things that I love to do when it comes to working with people on marketing is to remind people, and to remind myself too, it is important to market to your current clients. Not like in a, hey, I'm going to sell you things, but like to love on your current clients. Loving on your current clients is one of the best form of marketing that you can do. And it doesn't have to take a huge amount of time, a huge amount of energy. It should feel like something that's pretty natural to you, because you've heard me say this many times, you are an amazing teacher and you have great relationships with your students. So lean into those relationships. All right, let's keep moving and grooving. Karen says, hi, Bjorn. Stretch. Yay. It's good stuff. All right. I see that Noteworthy says on Instagram, we have a handful of new students who are friends. Who are friends with students who have been with us for a long time. It feels so good when a bunch of teens want to take lessons together. Yes, right? It's so true. I wish I could bring the Instagram comments up, but that's just not how eCam works. But, it is what it is. All right, let's keep going. We have 2 more things to go through. Okay, positive perception. This is where we really get into a very clear picture of how this can impact revenue, right? Word of mouth marketing, obvious, and increased sales conversions, great. that's going to have a direct impact on revenue. Also client retention. But one of the biggest things is that a positive perception and a strong brand awareness, right, is going to allow you to raise your prices. So a positive perception of your brand will allow you to charge higher prices for your products or your services because customers are willing to pay a premium for perceived quality. And your quality, let's be clear, your quality is already amazing. We know this about you because you're a great teacher. But being able to communicate that quality is something that we often miss. So we're talking about things like, okay, how do we really lean into communicating the transformations that students go through? And I'm not talking about things like so-and-so learned how to sight read more fluently, or this student learned 20 songs this fall. Yes, that's all fine and good, but really the transformations and some of the bigger reasons as to why people decide to take voice lessons, decide to take piano lessons, don't have anything to do with reading music. I'll share a little story about this. So like, for instance, okay, I'm thinking of some of the students who I had 2 seniors graduate this year. One of them had been with me for 11 years. Another had been with me for 7 years. And I was lucky enough to have conversations with one of these students' parents. And what I realized is, and I knew this like in the back of my brain, but when I had conversations with my parent clients, they were very clear to tell me this was not about voice lessons. You know, what our child has taken away from this is this blossoming confidence that definitely 100% came from being in your studio every single week. And, you know, so that's the type of marketing that we want to lean into. What type of how can we influence that perception and really show people this is what happens in our studio? That is going to give you a direct, that is going to give you the direct confidence to raise those prices because your quality is being able to like communicate that to other clients. All right. So let's go over one more thing here, and then we're going to do a rapid recap. And I'll have a little thing at the end here. Let's see. I love this. Okay, so when you have tapped into your brand and you've tapped into your marketing and really gotten clear with things, you are, as a result, this is kind of more long-term, you're going to see a reduce in marketing costs. Because a well-established, like, positive perception can reduce the amount of money that you need to spend on things like advertising or marketing materials, etc. It's going to become easier to attract the right kind of people through referrals and word of mouth, which is going to lower your customer acquisition cost. Fancy words, right? So those are 5 ways that perception, positive perception, can really tap into an increase in revenue. Now, before we do our rapid recap, I want to remind everyone that we have Branding Bootcamp coming up on October 6th. And you're going to be hearing more about this from me over the next coming weeks. I'm very excited, the topics that we have picked out for the next couple of weeks here. And I would love to invite you to learn more about Branding Bootcamp. So if you go to Savvy Music, that's not the right one. I thought I brought the right one up here. I can fix it. No, I can't spell. Let's try that again. Come on. There we go. There's an extra E in there. If you go to savvymusicstudio.com/branding, you can learn about this class. Now, I know that the word branding is something that has people going like, I don't understand what that means. So being able to really define your brand and get clear on who you want to work with, the values that your studio holds, how to communicate the offers that you have in a way that's really leaning into what's the transformation, what are the benefits, not like we offer 30-minute lessons, you'll learn how to play the piano. There's so much more than that. Being able to lean into those things and learning how to communicate who you are as an amazing teacher, that's branding. And that's going to have a direct impact on how easy it becomes to market your studio. So branding and marketing smooshed together in this class. It's a 4-month experience. We start October 6th. If you would like to join this class and you would like more information, you can go to this website right here, or you can reach out to me privately if you would like more information. Thank you. Laura says, I highly recommend branding boot camps. It helped me put my big girl pants on. Yeah, we talk about like brave pants in that, right? Oh my goodness. And we see some really great comments over on Instagram. I'm going to bring those up as well. Okay, so if you want to learn about that class, go ahead and put that down below. You can also, quick reminder before we do our rapid recap and wrap this up, if you want to get a hold of the show notes from today, which has a list of everything that we've talked about, you're going to drop the word perception down below if you are on Instagram or if you are on Facebook. If you are on YouTube, look for the link below in the video description and you can click there. All right, so let's bring up a couple more comments before we wrap this up here. I see that Noteworthy Studio says, a win yesterday. We updated our studio policies and included a new easy e-sign feature for the first time. New systems are always scary to incorporate. I had a parent stop me yesterday and say, you are the most organized after-school activity my child has ever done. I love that. It's so great. That's so wonderful. Okay, so let's go through our rapid recap. I can't wait. Let's do this. I think we went through everything today. Yes, we did. All right. Are you ready? I'm almost ready. Here we go. And how do you make your studio stand out when there are so many results popping up on Google, other studios getting referred by word of mouth, and things that are coming across social news feeds? Differentiating your service in a competitive market can feel challenging, and one of the results of that is that some teachers feel as though they have to resort to using competitive pricing in order to differentiate themselves. But before you think about doing that, consider this. Competitive pricing is a strategy that really only works for big box schools that have a lot of staff and that have a very large marketing budget. For people like you, these beautiful soul prop teachers and boutique studios, that is not the most effective way to go. So how can we differentiate our services without resorting to competitive marketing? The first thing that we can do is to see how we can influence positive perception. This is the most effective and sustainable marketing practice that we have in creating and fostering positive perceptions in our marketing. When this happens, then clients are more likely to have a favorable view of what you do in your studio. They're going to trust the quality of your services, and they're going to believe in the value that you provide because they have had a positive experience before they've even walked in the door. So, positive perception has a direct impact on revenue. Here are 5 ways that when you lean in to creating that positive perception, you're going to see a revenue impact. Number 1, word of mouth referrals. So when a customer is satisfied, they're going to have a favorable perception of their experience with you. They are more likely to refer other people to your business because they become these enthusiastic brand advocates. Number 2, when you have that positive perception of your studio, this is going to result in increased sales conversion because when they already have this positive experience before they've even walked in your door and they really truly understand what it would be like to work with you, your sales conversion rate is going to go up because you are attracting the right kind of people to your studio and you're repelling the wrong kind of people. Customers are more likely to make a purchase when they trust and have confidence in your brand. Number 3, positive perception also can lead to more customer loyalty and higher customer retention because when your current customers are having that positive experience and you're really leaning in to demonstrating that to them on a weekly basis, they're more likely to remain loyal. And that's going to result in repeat business. It's going to result in higher customer retention rates. Number 4. All right, this is where we get to the good stuff. If you lean into your brand and you really look at how can I influence positive perception of my company, then you are going to, in turn, be able to up your prices. This gives us pricing power, right? Because customers, they are more willing to pay a premium price for perceived quality. This is why it's really important to tap into your brand and to tap into your marketing in a way that expresses the quality and value that you are providing. And finally, number 5, when we can create this positive perception in our marketing and really express who we are as teachers and what our studio stands for, that's going to, in the long run, reduce your marketing costs. Because when we have this well-established positive perception, it becomes easier to attract new students, not just through socials and online, but you're going to have higher word of mouth and higher referrals. And that's going to lower your customer retention or customer acquisition costs. All right, that is it for today. If you want to get a hold of the notes, if you drop the word perception down below, the Savvy Sarah bot will reach out to you, and we will be back next Wednesday for more savvy goodness. So thanks so much for being here, everyone. And until next week, stay savvy and stay you, because you're an amazing teacher and there's no one like you in this world. And I think that you are pretty dang awesome. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.